Hi, I'm Austin Earthman.
And I'm Taylor Patton. Welcome to the Kitchen Table Podcast.
We're here to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing our stories, helping you get 1% better in all areas of your life. Welcome to episode 55. We are talking about support this week. Mental, physical, emotional, social, all types of support. No news this week, but challenge recap. Also going on support, we're going to be talking about who our support system is, why it matters. We'll get into a little bit of some life examples from myself and the one and only Taylor Patton the First, and have a nice discussion about a TV show as well. Answer a couple of world life questions or solve the world's problems, and we'll go from there. Anyways, challenge last week was to manage a conflict. You do it every day.
Do it every single day.
Taylor does it every single day. I manage a conflict with myself every single day. Make more decisions right than wrong. On the right track. Feel good about that. And had a nice vacation.
Yeah.
Now we're back.
Yeah. Always. Yeah, it's crazy talking about support. Support's like another good word that we use at Woodward Academy.
Why?
It's just saying that you support what's going on. Like saying, like, voice is off while we do this transition. And people will say support. And just meaning that they understand what you said and they're supporting what you say. And so it's kind of like I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Just saying I understand you. Like
yeah.
having empathy. We talk about that in my sports psychology classes, but having empathy for somebody, putting yourself in your own shoes, or just being a listening ear and actually, like we said last week, listening to them with an open heart.
Yeah. Support, support it's a big word at Woodward.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm open. Like if you're getting feedback and or as we talked about last week, part of conflict resolution and that, like saying just being open, saying I'm open and that. It's a different.
And being verbal about it too.
Yeah.
Speaking of like wording and stuff, sometimes support can be in a difficult sense, meaning it's constructive criticism. So my brother texted me and said that I said on our types of love episode, I called it storge was the love. And that I should probably know what I'm talking about before I go on the podcast. And it's pronounced storge, which I knew and I don't know why I said storge, but it's storge is how you say it.
I would have said storage too.
So I apologize for that. So going off the quote of the week this week, it's by I think her name is Rochelle. Okay, Rochelle Goodrich. It says, "Be somebody's security blanket when theirs is in the wash." Be somebody's security blanket when theirs is in the wash. Thoughts? You got a funny one.
I'm just thinking about a text at work and that this kid was like, he's like, I'm gonna need a security blanket just in case my dad says mean things to me. And what he meant by that is just like dad's just being a dad, just saying things that he don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway,
need somebody to build him up.
Yeah, so that's what he said, like security blanket. He just needs someone to vent with, and talk to.
Which to be support though.
Yeah.
I do think you need those people.
Yeah, I didn't know it goes on that. That's not me.
Yeah, I think that sometimes you need that, but if it's important, like it's gonna like change their life, you need to be real with them. I think.
Yeah. Like I'll listen to you and that, but I'm gonna listen to you and then I'm gonna give you options or solutions.
Yeah.
Not very much of you can just vent to me and just a vent. Like I don't actually sit there and take all your problems and worries without giving you actual feedback or solutions to the issues.
Honestly, I think I'm pretty good at that. It doesn't happen often, but like at school, other teachers are like, I just need to vent for a minute. So I just listen to them. They're like, thanks for listening. And then I move on. You just have to act like you're listening,
Yeah.
you know? It's like they're like basically saying like, I don't want advice, I just want to let it out.
Yeah.
Which I think that's part of being a support system. And I say support system, but anybody can be your support system. It could be they could be your support system for one. You could be on the subway in New York City and talk to somebody. That could be your support system. You might never see him again. Probably never going to see him again. But that could be support if you needed them in that moment. But your, I guess, reliable support system is normally what we're talking about. Like somebody who's going to be there thick and thin, good, bad. Those are the people you want around you. Bible verse this week is going to be a little bit different. Okay, so I have, those of you who don't know, I write in a journal every day. And I saw this quote one time in late high school, early college. So I taped it to the back of my journal. And it was getting to the point where I could not be transferred anymore. So I just left it on one journal. But it's a quote that I think shows the support that God or Jesus gives us, even when we have no clue that it is happening. Okay, so it's going to be, it's a little bit of a longer poem. So if you need to replay it a couple times, you can. Otherwise, try to follow closely. All right. One night I dreamed a dream. As I was walking along the beach with my Lord, across the dark sky flashed scenes from my life. For each scene, I noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to me and one to my Lord. After the last scene of my life flashed before me, I looked back at the footprints in the sand. I noticed that at many times along the path of my life, especially the very lowest and saddest times, there was only one set of footprints. This really troubled me, so I asked the Lord about it. Lord, you said once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I noticed that during the saddest and most troublesome times of my life, there was only one set of footprints. I don't understand why, when I needed you the most, you would leave me. He whispered, my precious child, I love you and I will never leave you, never ever, during your trials and testings. When you only saw one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. I just think that's a really supportive poem that we tend to think that God leaves us in our trials or that he's not with us or we don't get answers. But in reality, he's doing things we can't even think about. When you read that, you're like, oh, God left us. But then it's like he comes back with the ultimate, no, I put you on my shoulders. And I think a lot of times our support system does that in ways that we don't or can't reciprocate to somebody, which is fine. I think that's a support system, but it's really hard to feel even with them. But I also think we aren't very good at saying, hey, thank you, or I appreciate what you've done or what you are doing for me. And we even see, like, it's hard for us to see God, I guess, in terms of a physical sense. But it's really easy for us to see, for instance, my parents went to every single college game of my life except for 2 soccer games that we were in California for. They went to every single game that I ever played in college. In high school, too. Even, like, they hated basketball, and they went to every basketball game except for 2.
Same with my dad.
And that's something that I found out 95% of people don't get. Whether it's because finances, or they're busy, or they just don't want to travel, or they're unable to travel, or they just simply don't want to put in the effort. So I think that poem's a really good indicator about support that we sometimes forget about, but need to be reminded of. So I taped it to the back of my journal. And a lot of that is because in high school, I took support for granted and didn't care and was kind of a brat. And then once I hit college, I was like lonely and everything changed, and I loved going home and had to rely on faith a lot. So that became like a priority then. So once again, like every episode, I think this is super, super important. Thoughts?
Yeah. I like to put a lot. Third poem. And that can I go through this?
You do. You're right. You do.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I talked about in like my high school experience. Like
Yeah.
I didn't care about my support and just took everything for granted. And it kind of hit me in college. So I'm very good at not taking things for granted now.
Yeah.
Which is why I want to talk a little bit about the people at Vitargo. I know I mention Vitargo all the time, and sometimes I'm silly about it. But people who don't know, so Vitargo is basically a complex carbohydrate company that a lot of endurance athletes use. They have a lot of ultra marathoners. But in football at UNI, we use Vitargo as a school all the time before and after games. And I remember thinking, like, I don't need this because it's going to make me fat and carbs aren't good for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Boo carbs.
That carbs are bad.
Yeah.
But
Protein.
then,
Protein.
yeah, I learned more about it and started to use it more towards the end of my college career and I guess post-college career, and was looking for like ways to one, help Vitargo because I think it's a great product and nobody knows about it, and two, be able to get their products quicker, easier for me. So I was like, okay, I'll look at a sponsorship, and I've been using Vitargo, but I also was like unsure because they don't do protein, they just do carbs. So then I was like, okay, I'll get a carb and a protein like sponsorship. And I ended up just going with the carb one at Vitargo because of the people. So Vitargo has basically reached right out to me and said, yeah, we'd love to have you on our team. Told me the stuff to fill out, filled it out. They actually used a photo for me on their website. I don't know if they still use it. Talked about you and I, had common ground. And I was just like, yeah, I love the product and I would love to be a part of the team. And that was it. So then they just shipped me Vitargo basically when I need it, and whatever I guess is going on that I need from them, they're willing to help, like that share or whatever it might be. And for me, my job, I want to get people to know what Vitargo is, right? So the support that they give me for really the amount that I've been able to do for them is probably very, very low. But I appreciate their support and the help that they've given me to continue to try to chase my dream, even if it might not benefit them, because they have a lot more stake in the game than I do. But if I get their name out there and do the best I can, then it's worth it to me. You know what I mean? And it used to be like, yeah, I just get some product and call it good. And it's definitely not that case. I want everybody to know what Vitargo is. So I love when people text me, and people always think it's Vertigo. I was like, no, it's Vitargo. But seriously, the benefits of Vitargo, like you said, there's protein and carbs. When you use a carb supplement with your protein, on average, research shows you get 30% more muscle mass. 30%. Imagine having to go to the 30 times, you only have to go 23 times. Right?
That's horrible.
I mean, like, just in terms of gains, like the extra work. Okay, go to work. You want to work 30 days or 23 days? You know what I mean? That's a bad example, but
All about that.
basically you get more bang for your buck. And then people are like, oh, Vitargo is really expensive. Okay, a Mercedes is more expensive than a Toyota too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have a code that people can use to get it 15% off as well. Or you can subscribe to it and get it more often. Or you can do 1 scoop instead of 2 scoops. It's in the recovery. I put a thing on my Whoop, or yeah, and Taylor uses it too. And I have a couple other friends who have texted me that they bought it, and say it's great. I literally haven't heard that it's not good from anybody since I've been with them. But for me, the muscle mass is great, but the recovery is the biggest thing. So I put a picture on my story, and then I guess Vitargo shared it about Whoop. And my recovery was like 90%, 80%. Like we call it in the green, in the yellow, and in the red. And in the greens, anything above, was it 70%?
Yeah.
65% actually. I think it's 65.
Something like
And I was in the green every day for like a week and a half straight. I only posted the week though, because that's all I could show. And the one day I didn't use Vitargo, it dropped a little bit in the yellow. And I was like, it was like a hard workout week too. So that just showed me like how much Vitargo really does help compared to not taking it. And it helps that recover, the glycogen repair, all that kind of stuff. It's all organic. It's all real ingredients. It's nothing fake. You know what I mean? Like it's not just gonna have sugar in it. Like Gatorade, for instance. I'm not hating on Gatorade. I'm just think Vitargo is healthier for you. And it digests people. The other criticism I always get is I don't want to take carbs because it just sits in my stomach, right? I don't do that when I'm racing, when I'm running, whatever. It goes through you in 10 minutes. Gets your bloodstream in 10 minutes. I never feel full drinking Vitargo, and I actually think it tastes delicious. I always talk about grape. But if you're going to work out in the morning, have orange. Have it as orange juice pre-workout. You can use it as pre, during, or post. So when I have when I have a long workout, for instance, I run a marathon, I use Vitargo during my workout instead of pre or post. But I learned that if you get complex carbs in a left workout, that's actually a good indicator to make you be able to work out longer. So Vitargo would do that. So you get it for getting your energy, maintaining energy, or creating recovery. And you can use one scoop or two. I use one just because my workouts normally aren't that long. During the marathon row, I did 2 1 scoops. I did it 2 times, but I did one so I could get water with it to just hydrate and spread it out a little bit. And it gives me like, I portion it, so it's like, okay, I get to these amount of meters, I can have another drink of it. Seriously, I like pass some time. And it's like something good you look forward to, like you want ice cream at night. Yeah, it's really what it was. It's a reward. Because it tastes so good, I think. So I just want to give some support and thanks to Vitargo, because seriously, it's a great company. It has a lot of great people, and it seriously works. And I wouldn't promote something if I didn't think it worked, because that would hurt my reputation as well. So if you haven't tried Vitargo, seriously, they have watermelon, fruit punch, orange, grape, plain. You can mix it with your Gatorade. And it does not make you fat. If you're working out that much and you're able to use Vitargo because you're burning carbohydrates, you're not going to get fat. I guarantee you. It's worth it for the recovery. It's worth it for the taste, and it's definitely worth the money that it costs to buy. I just want to say thank you to Vitargo.
Thank you for listening. Appreciate y'all's support. See you next week.
No, that's just a little thing. We're going to go to an ad break. We'll be right back.
15 minutes?
Well, the Vitargo thing wasn't that long, but yeah.
Cheers, finally 10.
All right, ready?
Whatever.
Taylor's mad at me because I talked too long about Vitargo, but
when did my motion ever change?
Did it? You're just like, that was 15 minutes?
I did not.
They deserve 15 minutes. We should have done a whole 1440 about them.
I just believe the thing, it said 19 or something. It was some 18 something. I was like,
all right, I've talked enough then. Tell me your support system. Who's your support system? Why do they matter? What do you want to?
Caffeine's my support system.
All right, why is caffeine your support system?
I live off caffeine.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. Tell me.
You do. You're right. You do. That's not good, man. You get a headache if you don't have caffeine?
No.
That's good.
I get a headache if I don't have it.
You need double that.
How about that? I drink plenty. Today alone, I've had pre-workout,
which is high. Taylor's got this pre-workout that's not good for you.
It is. It's perfectly fine.
It's got like 400 milligrams of caffeine. The legal so-called limit is even a drug test in college if you have over 500 milligrams. You're almost there.
Close to it today. I definitely probably passed it today.
It's crazy.
No, I know.
It's like 8 cups of coffee,
The
bro.
only one I've only had. Actually, I'm probably about 500. So I had pre-workout in the morning. I had my Alani, and I had 2. Well, actually, they're probably half cups of my coffee stuff.
Yeah. They're saying like in like 8 ounces of coffee, there's like 100, 120.
Yeah, on there it says it's right above. I think it's probably 55 milligrams.
Coffee.
Yeah, for a cup. So I mean, I've probably had 55.
Did you know that light roast coffee has more caffeine than dark and medium roast? It goes light, medium, dark in terms of caffeine. How much?
I don't know, because I don't just have coffee. I have to have.
Yeah, you put all that stuff.
You gotta have the latte or the.
Telling you, man, hey, if you get the machine for me for my wedding, you can personally come over and make your own for it.
I am not buying you $1,000 espresso machine.
Worth it, man.
And unless I start pooping out dollar bills.
Oh, yeah, I'll take it.
Until then, I'm that or
everybody.
That or I hit some big money at the Las Vegas extravaganza.
Everybody asks me like, "Well, what's something you'd really want on there?" And I tell everybody that. It's not really not a necessity, but I think it'd be so cool.
Support. Besides caffeine, as in people, I'd go with. I mean, the circle is like you, Will, Tyler. It's probably top 3, and that off the list. And then I'd probably say my partner at work, and that who runs with me. And that since we spend 7 days a week and pretty much like 100 hours in those 7 days, so.
Yeah. How does that change over time, though? Because like
I've only had this position for 2 months, so.
Yeah, so like how has it grown in 2 months like that fast to be like part of your support system? Some of it is you don't have a choice, but you know what I mean? Like you don't just meet somebody and all of a sudden they're in your support system.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I said he somewhat has to be because he works with you, but like if you weren't at work, how would he still be a part of your support system? Or would he? Or how is the relationship grown?
Yes and no. I mean, we're a lot closer now. And that, I'd say we talk a lot more. I think we keep the mood light with each other, because I think our job is like, our initials are BSS, and so like, we're called the bullshit staff because we deal with all the bullshit. And so like that's very valid, and that's all we do every day is just deal with shit. And so like just keeping each other like.
Sounds poopy.
Yeah, I mean.
Get it?
I mean, like really, like for both of us, not a lot gets to us in that. But I'd say just the experiences we go through, and like I don't know, there's a lot of inside jokes and all that. It's kind of like. Really, and like you relate, like other people how they relate would be like we're like firemen, like we go there to put out fires.
Yeah, it makes work fun.
Yeah,
if you want somebody you like.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in your maybe who's against your support system, like a hater that you're like that like motivates you? Because when I think of like sometimes I just get so into something. For instance, going to grad school, right? Sometimes I'm like, oh, people don't like think it's a big deal, or they think my school is a joke or whatever. So I'm like, screw you, think what you want. Like I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna be worthwhile and worth something someday. So like I don't need your support. So it's like a motivation. Like they're supporting me by not supporting me, because it motivates me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not really. I really don't know if I have any haters. If I do, they don't say anything, or sometimes.
Haters ain't loud for Taylor. Too much success.
No, because the biggest thing, I mean, like we're not big or anything yet. So I'd say our biggest thing is like people, like, there's not a lot of support behind, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we have support behind us, but we don't have, like,
We need that game
foreign
changer.
support.
We
And
need the
that
game
behind, like,
changer.
anything, like, on the outside we're doing, like, not only podcasts, work,
Mhm.
all that stuff, like,
Yeah.
um,
And at some point you need that to be, I don't want to say be successful, but to reach a lot of us to reach the goals we want, we need support. And humans crave that support. Right? So just think if, for instance, like Vic Vitale got his vocal cords basically surgery done on him, right? And he's like he's a commentator for sports on ESPN. He does that for a living. If he can't talk, he like loses his number one thing, you know what I mean? So if he didn't have a support system, he would go crazy. If you're in a jail cell and you don't have faith, you don't have somebody to talk to, you don't get to see the outside world, you go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So humans crave that support, and they show like babies need love, like touch from their mom and dad.
Yeah.
Like we naturally, as a human, need some sort of support to an extent in order to reach our full potential.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, things kind of fall through.
Yeah.
Motivation only drives you so long or so far in the example I gave previously.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah. But I don't know. Next year will be interesting. Because I think next year will be the first time like I'll be living by myself. And so I think that's when I'll really figure out
Who you are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I think you need those experiences in life to really figure out the next major step. And we're just.
I already got it. I'm just going to follow what Nancy Pelosi invests in. I'm going to invest the same thing. And
I love it.
I just know that whatever she does, she gets rich because she
plays the system.
She's better than everyone else guessing the stock market. So
yeah, and she's not even a stockbroker. Look at that.
Yeah.
So insider trading.
That's my next big idea right there. Is
I like
follow
it.
it. She just invested. We were talking about this off stream, but how she just invested in the NIDAC and that.
Nvidia.
Yeah, and that because the government is putting an absurd amount into companies to make chips in the United States because we can't operate or do anything
without chips
because we outsource everything.
That's why Apple just made their own. Apple's the real winner here.
Right, but a lot of their stuff's outsourced too.
Not as much anymore. It's just, I don't know. Anyways,
and then
so Taylor's gonna do what Nancy Pelosi does.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was going back on the motivation that gets you so far, you need your support system. When I was in high school, I had a soccer coach who was on my ODP, which is like a state level team based on your age. You have to like try out for and make the team, blah, blah, blah. And you play against other top players in other states. So I did that, and I had this reject of a coach. I honestly don't even remember his name anymore, but I wrote it down to be like, hey, when I win the Heisman Trophy of soccer, I'm going to say thanks to this guy for being an idiot. And
can I also be on the list of idiots?
Sure, if you want to. But then I was like, I'm giving him that light of day. But I wanted to prove him wrong. And then I had another coach who coached me for 4 or 5 years, actually looked very similar to me, when I was in 8th grade throughout high school, a couple years of high school. And he loved me. And he was like, I was like a captain. He went everything through me. We actually went to a soccer tournament in Wisconsin because I wanted to. So we went back to this tournament because we played this reject of a team, and I was like pissed. I was like, we're going to play these guys again next year in the championship. And so we played them again, and it was just, we did it for me. So this guy was like very understanding as a coach. We could text him, talk to him, all that good stuff, get advice from him. And I played a lot better for that guy than I did the ODP guy because of the relationship and support that he gave us. So I think there's 2 ways as athletes you go. There's either that you play, like me personally, I play better when coaches don't yell and they talk to you to build a relationship, the players type coach.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's other people who play better for coaches who like hate them or say like, you suck or you need to do this, or like yell at them, or they're just, I guess, bully them.
Yeah.
So in my way, the way I say motivation only gets you so far is because at some point you're going to have a letdown. Some point you're not going to want to go to the gym in real life. Some point you're not going to want to go to work.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why, I mean,
You're going to want to
have to be your biggest support system.
Yeah, and you do.
Yeah, if you're not your biggest support system, then that's where you got to focus at first. You can't focus on outside sources.
But I just think like when you do fall through, you need somebody to help pick you up in order to keep going. You know, it's like my family was always there no matter how good or bad I did. And I say that all the time. The key to a good relationship, like marriage-wise, is for you not to both think bad at the same time. It's like if I'm down, Steph can always pick me up. If she's down, I can pick her up. The moment we're both down at the same time because of something the other person did, that's when trouble starts to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gotta stop saying what you know what I mean. That's just annoying myself. My gosh. So I think that's important to think about. You got it?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You speak. All right.
I was just gonna maybe I was just going off the Stephanie thing.
Stephanie thing.
Then I was like I'm just gonna contradict everything. So I was like, I'm good.
Why are you gonna contradict it?
Because I was like, never in my life have I looked or depended on someone else to do anything. Like, I mean, ever since like obviously besides when I was a baby, but like when I became an adult, like I moved out, led on my own. I moved back for 3 months, and then I moved out to you and I. Then I moved on.
It's not about the capability to do stuff on your own.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, my support system's never really ventured far out from myself and God. Like, I've never had, like, needed the support system. I've never been that down bad, you know?
Yeah.
Like, my rock bottom hit before I left.
I don't think it needs to be necessarily support in a bad way. Sometimes it's just, like, people, for instance,
but that's even on, but again, like I'm just weird. I don't like the emotions I have. Don't vibe, like I don't vibe in a bad way like that. Like even when like Tristan and Justin passed away, it'd probably be my next. I don't know, like worst traumatic event in my life. Like the biggest thing I had was a little bit of survival skill.
But what if nobody? Because I would say we had a great support system during those 2-3 weeks, the whole event stuff. What if you were just by yourself? Nobody reached out to you. Nobody said anything.
Then it is what it is.
It would have been more difficult though. What I'm saying.
Would have been though?
Yes, I 100% think it would have.
It was more hard for me to sit and take over. Like I told you, I think my phone average that week was an insane amount. It was over 8 hours.
I know. Heck, some high school kids, their screen time 17 hours a day. I don't even know that's possible.
Me neither. But again, that's a different. But like I'm saying, like I just never, even when I was doing great, I just haven't needed a lot of people.
Again, I don't think it's a need. I think it's just more of a quality of life. Quality of life is better when you have somebody support you. Somebody's by your side. Or makes you feel good, boosts your ego, talks to you, builds you up, occasionally knocks you down. I think that's important to have in your life because, again, humans crave that social interaction and those endorphins. A lot of life's about hormones, I'm learning too. And we perceive that support as a good thing. And if you're not able to perceive it, then it's not. But you're able to perceive it.
I don't know about stuff.
I don't know. For instance, like, this is the last thing I have here that I want to talk about. I tweeted out that I finished Friends, the TV show Friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I said it's the best TV show ever made. And I said I think my life is a version of Friends in a way. It's like more reality, obviously. And I'll explain on the podcast soon. And this is where I'm going to explain it. Okay? So listen up, folks. So Friends, for instance, I think if you know anything about Friends, is that these group of guys, 3 girls, live in New York City and basically grow a life together as 6 best friends from after college. And they live across from each other. Hence, our apartment, Will, Nate, me, Taylor Taylor took Nate's place. I think we're a version of Friends. And then you add our spouses in, or you add Annie. Yeah, you're Joe. You're like the single guy. You add Annie in there. Just the Des Moines crew in general, I really think is like, I always, when Steph and I are talking about it, we just say, you want the OGs to come. It's like just the group. And it stems, like the guys especially, stem back to college. And everything's grown. We live together. We live close to each other, we live close to each other in college. And it's grown to be, things have happened, like Nate got married. And then Will marries Nate's fiance's little sister. And then I bring somebody else in. And then Annie brings somebody else in. And there's been relationships, like, maybe not really along the way, but went up and down, but they did in college. Like you date somebody, okay, left them, et cetera, et cetera. I would even throw, like, Tyler would even be in there a little bit. And some of the guys, I think, from our phone group chat are extended in there. But for the most part, the Friends group it's literally like a reality TV show. And the older you get, the less you hang out, but everything happens and it just kind of flows all together if you watch the whole thing. Joey does something dumb or Ross gets mad because something happens, right? Chandler has the so-called business day job. Again, Joey does something dumb, or Joey has a career that's like impossible to reach and be happy in, like mine. And you got like Chandler and Monica, like Nate and Brooke, like everything's working out. And you get promotion or whatever, or you get a good job. And you got the weird, quirky person. I mean, I don't really know who that would be. And you got the single guy, which is Taylor, who is Joey. Like, there's little parts of Friends that I feel like are happening in real life for my life, and I love it. I think it's great. The inner circle I talk about, that's why I love it. That's why Friends is the best show ever, because it builds upon, has crazy things that happen that maybe aren't as realistic. Obviously, don't go to a coffee shop every day. Don't have twins. Don't have your own sister, your own brother's babies, all that kind of stuff. But the events that happen in terms of like jobs and friendships are real life. And I think that is the group around us. So I just think it's really awesome how it relates, and that's what matters. And that's why I thought support was important, because no matter what, the support is awesome. And Steph and I watched Cheaper by the Dozen the other day, the movie. Hadn't seen it in forever. And they talk about how the girls fight and how Lorraine, who's Hilary Duff, says, there's times I want to kill Sarah, the little girl, but I'd kill for her any day. And I feel like that's our group of friends that we have. Like, there's always times we get mad at each other or can't hang out or this doesn't work out, especially as we get older. But at least for me, in the heart, it's always going to be there. And that's why it's important. That's why I like the city we live in. That's why I don't want to go anywhere else, because that's important to me. And that's why the show is a silly sitcom, but it's the best show ever made based on how it built upon. The end. Questions, comments, concerns?
Love it.
Anything else with support?
I got nothing.
Okay. Challenge this week is to tell somebody in your sports. Simple gesture. Anyways.
Easy enough.
Easy enough. We'll catch you guys for the 1440 on Thursday. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later.
Love you. Bye.